Imagine spending 60 years chasing the most coveted trophy in sport. Imagine producing the greatest players your generation has ever seen. Imagine reaching the final, standing on the edge of immortality, and then watching it slip away. Not once, not twice, but again and again and again. This is not one story. This is 10. 10 countries, 10 generations of brilliance, 10 nations that gave everything to football and got heartbreak in return. This is the definitive list of the greatest countries that have never won the FIFA World Cup. Number 10, Dino Aspria. They had Freddy Rincon. And then, in their second group game, a defender named Andrés Escobar accidentally put the ball into his own net against the United States. Colombia lost. They went home early. 10 days after returning to Medellin, Andrés Escobar was shot and killed outside a restaurant. 12 bullets. Reports said the gunman shouted "goal" with each shot. Football had never felt so ugly, so brutal, so devastating. Colombia never recovered psychologically from 1994. They have produced world-class players in every generation since. Falcao, James Rodriguez, who scored the goal of the 2014 tournament. But the trauma of that year left a shadow over their football that no individual brilliance has ever fully lifted. Number 9, Romania. In the mid-1990s, Romania had George Hagi. That sentence alone should be enough. Hagi was called the Maradona of the Carpathians, a left-footed magician who could change a match with a single touch. At the 1994 World Cup, Romania reached the quarterfinals and played some of the most beautiful football of the entire tournament. They beat Argentina. They beat Colombia. They pushed Sweden to penalties in the last 8. But that generation was everything Romania had. It was one golden window, one perfect moment in time, and when Hagi retired, the window closed. Romania has not qualified for a major tournament in over 2 decades since. One genius, one generation, 0 trophies. The cruelest kind of football story. Number 8, Nigeria. Africa has never produced a World Cup winner. But of all the African nations, Nigeria have come closest to convincing the world that it could happen. In 1994 and 1998, the Super Eagles had a squad that would make any continent envious. JJ Okocha, perhaps the most technically gifted African player who ever lived. Nwankwo Kanu, a Champions League winner with Ajax. Rashidi Yekini, who scored Nigeria's first ever World Cup goal and celebrated with tears streaming down his face, gripping the net like he never wanted to let go. In 1994, Nigeria were the most exciting team in the tournament. They qualified from a group containing Argentina and Bulgaria. And then, in the second round, Italy scored in the final minute of normal time and won on penalties. Nigeria have qualified for every World Cup since, except one. They keep producing staggering individual talent. They have never gone past the round of 16. A continent full of brilliance and one trophy that remains forever out of reach. Number 6, 1934 and 1962. They lost both. They had exceptional players, exceptional structure, and the particular misfortune of facing Brazil in 1962, one of the greatest Brazilian sides ever assembled. After Czechoslovakia split into 2 nations in 1993, the Czech Republic carried the flag, and in Euro 1996, they reached the final, losing to Germany in extra time with a golden goal. At the 1998 World Cup, they had Pavel Nedved, one of the best midfielders of his generation. They went out in the group stage. A nation with 2 World Cup final appearances and not a single winner's medal to show for it. History has not been kind to them. Number 6, Sweden. Sweden's football story is one of consistent, almost painful near misses. They finished 3rd at the 1994 World Cup, beating Bulgaria in the 3rd place playoff. They had Henrik Larsson, one of the deadliest strikers in European football for over a decade. They had Freddie Ljungberg, Zlatan Ibrahimovic.
And here is where Sweden's story gets complicated, because Zlatan Ibrahimovic is perhaps the most talented player in Swedish history, a man who scored over 500 career goals, won league titles in 5 different countries, and possessed a level of arrogance and skill so perfectly combined that he was essentially a force of nature. And yet, in his entire career, Zlatan never won a single game at a World Cup knockout stage, with Zlatan ever did. Some stories in football make no sense at all. Number 5, Belgium. Between 2014 and 2022, Belgium assembled what the entire football world called the Golden Generation. Eden Hazard, Kevin De Bruyne, Romelu Lukaku, John Vertonghen, Thibaut Thibaut Courtois. On paper, it was one of the most talented squads in the history of international football. Not just good, historically good. At the 2018 World Cup in Russia, Belgium beat Brazil in the quarterfinals. Brazil, with Neymar, with the full force of South American football behind them. It was one of the great upsets. Belgium played some of the most fluid, devastating counter-attacking football the tournament had seen. And then France happened. In the semi-final, a set piece, a deflection, a single goal. Belgium lost 1-0. They won the third-place playoff. They went home with bronze. By 2022, the golden generation was aging. The magic was fading. They went out in the group stage. De Bruyne sat in his press conference afterward and said quietly that this group of players would probably never get another chance. He was right, and the world of football mourned what could have been, because a generation that talented deserved more than bronze. It deserved everything. Number 4, Hungary. To understand how great Hungary were, you need to go back to 1954, because the Hungarian team of that era, known as the Mighty Magyars, is considered by many football historians to be the greatest international team ever assembled. Not the greatest team that won the World Cup, the greatest team ever. They were led by Ferenc Puskás, a short, stocky man with a left foot so powerful and precise it seemed physically impossible. Between 1950 and 1956, Hungary played 50 international matches and lost one. They beat England 8-3 at Wembley, the first time England had ever been beaten at home by a foreign team. The English press did not know how to describe what they had witnessed. One journalist simply wrote, "We were in the presence of something we had never seen before." At the 1954 World Cup, Hungary beat South Korea 9-0. They beat West Germany 8-3 in the group stage. They were the most dominant team the tournament had seen. The final was against West Germany, the same team they had destroyed 8-3 just days earlier. Hungary took a 2-0 lead in 8 minutes. It was over. It had to be over. West Germany scored 2, then a third. Hungary hit the post. The ball was cleared. The final whistle blew. West Germany 3, Hungary 2. Football had its greatest ever upset, and Hungary's golden generation never recovered. 2 years later, the Soviet Union invaded Budapest. Puskás and several teammates defected and never played for Hungary again. The greatest team in history dissolved overnight, not on a pitch, but in a political catastrophe that had nothing to do with football at all. Some losses are about more than a game. Number 3, Portugal. Portugal's story spans 60 years and 2 of the greatest players the world has ever produced. And still, somehow, no World Cup trophy. Eusebio arrived at the 1966 World Cup like a thunderclap. He was 24 years old, born in Mozambique, carrying the hopes of an entire nation. He finished as the tournament's top scorer with 9 goals, including 4 in a single match against North Korea after Portugal had been losing 3-0. He dragged his country to the semi-finals almost single-handedly. In the semi-final, England beat them 2-1. Portugal finished 3rd. Eusebio cried at the final whistle. He was never going to get another chance like that. He never did. And then, nothing. Portugal disappeared from World Cup relevance for the next 3 decades, until 2006, until Luis Figo and Cristiano Ronaldo, until a team that had so much quality that they reached the semi-finals and were beaten by France, a France team containing Zinedine Zidane in the last great performance of his career. And then came the Ronaldo era, the greatest player of his generation, some argue of all time. 5 Ballon d'Or awards, hundreds of international goals, decades of carrying Portugal on his back at every tournament. At the 2022 World Cup, at 37 years old, it was his last real chance. Portugal cruised through the group stage. In the quarterfinals, Morocco, a team no one had expected to go so far, eliminated them 1-0. Ronaldo walked off the pitch with tears running down his face. 60 years after Eusebio cried in the same position, 2 of the greatest players in history, 1 country, 0 World Cup trophies. Some curses have very long memories. Number 2, the Netherlands. 3 World Cup finals, 1974, 1978, 2010, 0 wins. In 1974, the Dutch had Johan Cruyff and total football, a system so revolutionary that the entire world still plays variations of it today. Every player could play every position. The shape was liquid, impossible to defend. They demolished everyone in their path. The final was a formality, or so everyone thought. They kicked off, passed the ball 13 times without a German player touching it, scored a penalty, and then stopped trying to win. They showed off. They taunted. They humiliated. West Germany equalized, scored again, and won 2-1. In 1978, without Cruyff, who had stayed home following a kidnapping attempt against his philosophy that modern football runs on, their coaches have rebuilt clubs and national teams across Europe. Their fingerprints are on every beautiful team you have ever watched. watched, and they have never lifted the trophy they deserve more than any other nation on earth. Number 1, and this one is not a debate. Number 1 is the Netherlands? No, because there is one country whose absence from the winners list is so staggering, so historically unjust, that it stands alone. Number 1 is Portugal? No. Number 1 is Italy? No. Italy have won 4 World Cups. Number 1 is, and has always been, the Netherlands, combined with one final devastating thought. Actually, let me give you the real number 1. The country that has reached the most World Cup semifinals without winning. The country that produced the tactical framework every great team since 1970 has borrowed from. The country where football is not just a sport, but an ends. Somewhere in Amsterdam tonight, a child is falling asleep in an orange jersey. Their grandfather watched 1974. Their father watched 2010. And that child believes, with complete, unshakable certainty, that they will be the generation that finally does it. Because Dutch football is not a trophy. It is a belief, an unfinished sentence, a promise the universe has not yet kept. And maybe that hunger, that specific, inherited, decades-long hunger, is the most powerful fuel in the history of sport. 10 countries, 10 generations, 10 stories of genius without glory. The World Cup has a way of breaking the hearts of the greatest teams the most completely, because only the great ones get close enough to feel it. If this video moved you, if you felt the weight of these stories, hit like and subscribe, because next week we are telling the story of the one player who touched the World Cup trophy and was not allowed to lift it. That story is even darker than this one.